Hi, everybody. It's day 21 of National Poetry Month 2020. I am Poetricia, and the challenge continues. Thank you to all my poet friends who have tagged me in their poems. I appreciate it. I've been enjoying your sharing, and I pray that you guys enjoy what I'm going to share on today. Today begins the 10-day countdown to the end of the month. And so I'm going to be sharing my top 10 favorite poems that I have written over the last, let's see, how many years is it now? 38 years. I wrote my first poem in 1978. You do the math. So, this first poem that I'm going to share on today. Afterwards, I will share two poetry tips for you, as promised. And the title of the poem comes from a event that I was asked to participate in at Warm Daddy's on Inspirational Poetry Night years ago. The theme was Portrait of a Mother, and it was Mother's Day weekend, and everybody had tributes to their mother. So I prayed and meditated and thought about my mother, and the Lord gave me this poem entitled Portrait of a Mother. It is dedicated to my mother, Phyllis Joan Nicholson Middleton, and it comes from my heart. Portrait of a Mother. Looking around the gallery of my life, I see many portraits, dozens of pieces of art decorating the 5+ decades that I have lived on this earth. Sketches, abstracts, photographs, most of no real worth, but there are a few of true and real value. One such portrait is called Mother. This portrait, the first really to grace my life's gallery, has stood the test of time. Through life's storms, floods, and chaos, and craziness that enters into one's orbit over the years, when other portraits were faded, lost, or traded, this portrait remained constant, loving, and faithful. Where other portraits' colors would fade, not this portrait. The shades are oil based, its hues illuminated and made bright by rays from the light above. The matting that borders the corners of this portrait may seem worn, but the frame remains strong and empowered, so that even now, though small in stature, this portrait towers over all others. This portrait I call Mother. And certainly from Proverbs 31:26, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Talking about my mother, Phyllis Middleton. So that's a shout out to you, Mommy. Yes, I'm 50 plus and I still call my mother Mommy. So that poem was today's poem. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The tip for you, I will give you a tip that I learned from my mother regarding poetry. Now, as I said earlier, I started reciting poetry at the age of 9, as many have growing up in Sunday school, having Easter pieces and Christmas pieces. And so, after about a decade of being, I'll call it AWOL, from the church, I returned in 1990 and I was 27 years old. And very quickly, I started being asked to recite poetry again on programs and different types of programs in church. And afterwards, like when the service was over, people would come up to me with all sorts of compliments and, oh, that was so great, no, that was so wonderful. And believe it or not, as comfortable as I seem to be behind the mic, the compliments were very uncomfortable for me. I was not used to receiving such praise. Um, as a child, and especially during my years of being in the world in different relationships that I was in, I was very uncomfortable receiving praise. Oh, that poem was great. Oh, you did such a wonderful job. And I talked to my mother about it early on, and maybe around the mid 90s it was at that time. And I was like, Mommy, what should I do? Everybody's always complimenting me, and these poems come from God. It's not like I'm writing them, He's inspiring me. And I really confided in her, like, I'm uncomfortable with all of this, all these compliments. And she told me the most valuable advice. She said, every time somebody does that, make sure your response directs them back to God, reminding them and yourself that the gift came from God. So that's what I began to do. Every time somebody would compliment me after his church service, I would say, well, I thank God for giving me that poem. Yes, He speaks the words into my ears or into my heart, and I just write. I'm really just, a secretary writing down the poetry. And it helped me. And it also was the first lesson that I learned, and it was ingrained in me never to forget where this gift comes from. I'm just a vessel giving out the words that came from above. So that's my piece of advice for you. If you're a Christian poet, always direct that praise that you receive from man back to God. Number one, you're glorifying Him. Number two, you're reminding your audience and that person that it's not about you, it's about the God in you, the God that gave you the gift. So that's my spiritual tip. My natural tip for you, if you are a Christian poet and you're looking to perfect your gift, I have something for you. I have something for you. Just a second. Okay. This book, it's called The Art and Craft of Poetry. I got it when I was taking a class. The instructor mentioned it. And so I went on Amazon.com and I purchased it. I purchased my books used because, I'm trying to cut corners. So it's only, I think, $13 or $14.95 new, but you can get it as low as $2, $3, $4 if you find the right vendor on Amazon.com under the used book category. If you're a poet and you're looking to perfect your craft, this book can help you, because even though the gift comes from God, it's up to us to perfect it. You don't see the sports people saying, oh, I got this gift from God, and just running out there and trying to do their thing. They go to practice and they train. So in training and perfecting your gift as a writer, you need tools besides prayer. Prayer is good, but after you get up off your knees and the Lord gave you that poem, you need some practical tips here to help you on your way. So this book helped me perfect my gift, art and craft of poetry. So those are the 2 tips for today. Always give glory back to God and perfect your gift with this book. It's not my book. I'm just taking things off of my bookshelf. I'm going to do that for the rest of the month and show you the books that I use to perfect my gift. Okay, so that's it for today. Day 21. We're almost at the end of the month. If you are a Christian poet and you want to accept the challenge, go live on Facebook and share some poetry. Inspire, encourage, and uplift people on your timeline. Flood the timeline with something more than just the coronavirus statistics. We need some encouragement, and the way I do that is with poetry. So thank you for watching. Praise the Lord to Evangelist Rochelle, Brother Tucker, praise the Lord, Yogi, my sis, fellow poet, and all the others who will watch at another time. Thanks again, and I'll see you on tomorrow. Bye.